I will talk quite briefly about what is mindful eating. Something which is very common, but I think, are we really mindful? And then the other one is talking about if you're not mindful in eating, you are actually mindless eating. So it's a contrast. And sometimes you look at the literature, they talk about emotional eating. So I'll talk a bit more on that. And also a lot of relevance between mindfulness and also eating disorder. I'm not going to talk in a lot of detail, but there is an increased awareness as well as an issue on eating disorder, including in Singapore. Okay, if you don't understand the entire conversation I'm talking about, just pay attention to the last slide, which is a summary, which is, it will summarize the whole 20 minutes of the talk. So you can also fall asleep now if you are really tired. You just had lunch, right? So can I ask you, what did you have? Roti. So I thought, is this one? Right? I hope I get it right. Angie told me like 2 weeks ago they're going to have lunch from this company, so I Google and then there's the picture. So you probably have this one, something like that? Right? Or, right? No. Is it wrong? So you guys are really mindful in what you were eating. So that's my feedback. Yeah? Correct. So do you know that this pack of food has gone into your body? So just now it was like that. Can you visualize like what Julian was saying? What is inside your body now? It's the nasi lemak, right? Is it nasi lemak, right? Yeah. So the topic here is actually very common. So when you do mindfulness, there are 2 types. One is formal mindfulness, where you practice meditation, body scan, whatever Prof and Angie will talk about. And the other one is informal practice. Mindful eating falls under the informal practice. Okay? So, come back again, do we really know what we are doing when we are eating? What is in your mind when you are eating? Where your mind is really cluttered, especially during lunchtime, you are still very active, or your mind is very clear. You actually know what you are eating, you are focusing on eating. So it is very important that when you eat, we actually focus on eating. Then the next one, what is the definition of mindful eating? I kind of a scientist, so I can't Google what is the definition. Otherwise, everybody can talk about different things. Yeah? So very important, when we are talking about mindful eating, we are talking about the relationship to food. So the key word here is relationship. We always talk about relationship to animals, to people, to friends and family. But have we ever thought about we also need to have a relationship to food? And food is also our friend and our partners, and something that we have to also be grateful of. The other point is we all need to be aware of what is happening within and around the moment when you are eating. And this is very important because very often when you eat, we are not actually eating, we are just putting an object from outside to inside our body. So sometimes it's like a task. So mindful eating gives you the awareness, eating is more than just eating. So I hope in the next 20 minutes, I'll try to explain to you why I say so. This morning, Dr. Lam talked about HPB, Health Promotion Board. I'm also a strong supporter of HPB because they have done a lot of good work, and currently they have a lot of programs trying to improve and promote and communicate to the grassroots level how to promote healthy living, including mental health. And one of the mental health they talk about is mindful, they actually use the word mindful makan. You Google now realize makan is an accepted word in English, in Google, as well as in Oxford University Dictionary. So we can use makan for English, okay? Because I was searching mindful eating, I couldn't find anything, but my HPB friend said, okay, they are talking about mindful eating, so it's mindful makan. So you go to the Health Hub, which is a very, very good website of HPB. Do go in, it's free of charge, and it's a very good communication and educational tag there. So their definition of mindful eating is eat when you are physically hungry. So you must know what do you mean by physically hungry. So we know we are hungry, right? So are we really physically hungry or emotionally hungry? We need to distinguish between the emotionally hungry versus physically hungry, which I'll talk a bit later. Then you will stop eating when you're full. How full is full? We don't know, right? Often we will just eat because we just finish off the plate. Then mindful eating from the HPB definition is listening to your body and paying attention to what, to why, to how, and how much you are eating. Sounds a mouthful, but it's all very common sense. But yesterday I learned from my colleague, common sense is actually most difficult things at work. Sometimes it's quite true. So, okay, I then look into more detail how to eat. So you teach a baby and kids how to eat, right? So when you're an adult, you still learn how to eat. Sometimes sounds embarrassing. But then you learn, when you learn how to swim, your trainer, your instructor teach you how to breathe. When you learn meditation from Angie, she'll teach you how to breathe. So are you saying, I don't know how to breathe? Maybe the difference is how to breathe rightly or correctly with the right technique. And it's quite important that differentiates you between the best swimmer versus the average swimmer. So the key point here is when we eat, we must get the right technique so that we enjoy the food, we also deliver the right nutritional value to our bodies. So this book is by Thich Nhat Hanh. Most of you, some of you may know who Thich Nhat Hanh is, he's a Zen master. So he wrote a book about how to eat. So inside there are a lot of notes about how to eat. But I just captured 3 key points, which is very relevant to the conference. It's about being present. So when you're eating, you're truly eating. Be honest to yourself. When you're eating, are you really eating? Or you're watching television, very often we are looking at our mobile phone. And that's the only time you can read messages from your mobile phone. The second point is we must savor our food. We must appreciate and enjoy, have fun with the food. Food actually brings a lot of happiness and joy. I once worked in the chocolate company, so one of the motto is, our role is to bring joy to the world. So chocolate companies say their motto is to bring joy to the world. We are not talking about chocolate making fat and things like that. So it's very important. Every food has a function and has a purpose. It's how much you eat, how you eat, that's a critical point. And the third point, which we don't normally associate with, we must be grateful. We must have this gratitude, one of the mindfulness foundation, which Prof shared with you just now. So gratitude that the food, you have the chance to eat the food, you're able to eat the food yourself, you're not being fat. Just like one day you cannot eat anymore, you need to be fat, or you need to use the tubing to eat. That's the time when you realize and you value how important eating is. You also need to be grateful that somebody prepared the food for you. Angie and Tim make a lot of prepare the nasi lemak, order the nasi lemak, and the person deliver, and then somebody serve, and then also upstream, somebody cook the nasi lemak, and also somebody plant the rice and things like that. So the entire supply chain is quite important. So simple rice grain is actually gone through a lot of heart and sweat to reach to where we are. Okay, so the message is we must treasure whatever food we have. Okay, so I was trying to use an analogy about a door and your mouth. So I see there is some relevance here. So when you open the door, you move from one side to another side. And normally you welcome visitors, friends and family to the house, and you know what they are doing in the house. They're not stealing money, or you're not encouraging robbers to come to your house. Same thing, when you open your mouth, you're putting food into your mouth. Obviously, you don't put poison into your mouth, you don't put petrol or kerosene into your mouth, right? So we must be very careful whatever you eat and how we eat. Actually, I copied this from Thich Nhat Hanh also. So when we are eating, we know we are eating. Okay, the sentence is very simple, sometimes it's very motherhood, but it is very important you read it carefully. So when you are eating just now, were you truly eating? Or you are just talking to somebody else? Yeah? So this one is very popular. If you attend mindfulness class, you will study this. So 9 out of 10 will say, wow, this is the best raisin I ever eaten in my life. Because you were only given one raisin. And in NG class, she will give you a Malteser, which is even better, it's chocolate, right? So the idea is, when you apply the senses, you appreciate more. And when you're only given one, you will appreciate even more. So in life, that's like that. If you're only given one, you tend to appreciate more and you pay more attention to it. In addition to eating one single grain, sometimes you have mindful eating for the whole meal. So this was conducted in our advanced mindfulness course. And some of the participants come from the room here as well. So this is where you eat in silence, you truly focus on the food, and you are eating, and then you you understand where the food comes from, how the food being served and things like that. So you have some focused time on eating. So it might be a good practice to practice this at home with the family and things like that. You may not want to do it every time because eating food is also bonding. But once in a while, from what the book recommended, it is good to at least practice once a week at home. Okay, so it is quite a lot to talk about mindful eating. I think this slide summarizes what is mindful eating, and we summarize it quite well. Just have to ensure that we are aware of, and we savor the food, and we observe, as well as we are in the moment. So try not to read newspaper, watch television, look at the mobile and things like that. And lastly, very difficult is non-judgmental. So the idea is try not to say it's good food, bad food, nice food, not nice food, I don't like, I like. Those are quite a judgmental statement. Even if you don't like it, it will be good to eat because somebody else put a lot of effort into where we are to put the food on the plate for you. So in the States, I also copy this. Apparently this is a big wave in the States about mindful eating. In New York City, there are a lot of workshops to teach the New Yorkers how to eat properly. So how to get the maximum out from the food. So they are talking about first you reflect, or you sit down when you eat. Do we sit down when we eat? We don't normally sometimes. And we must turn off the television. In this case, also referring to any technology, especially mobile phone. We serve out of your portion. As a food scientist, nutrition perspective, portion control is very, very important. One of the ways to ensure that we don't overweight or overeat is make sure you eat the right portion. And pick the smaller plate. There are some research has been done. If you use a big plate and you put the same amount of food versus in a smaller plate, you will feel full when you eat from the smaller plate. And that is just psychological. So from volume perspective, there's no difference. So always try to use a smaller plate, then you feel full faster. Gratitude, we talked about that before. So over here, they say chew 30 times. I don't think we truly go and chew 30 times, but the message is we need to chew our food. So very often we don't chew, right? We just swallow and then we also forgot about the need to chew. Right? So that's quite important that we chew. There's also some psychology and nutrition study to suggest that chewing is actually very important. And the suggestion is also whatever the benefits, nutritional value, the bioavailability come from how well you chew the food. Put down your intention. So I always talk to my friends who are male, they say, I eat very fast because I went to NS. But they are no longer in NS, but they still eat very fast. So the message is, so if you apply the being present, being in the moment, yeah, when you were in NS, you need to eat very fast because of the timing. But now you're no longer in NS, you don't have to eat so fast. Because so eating very fast is actually not very healthy. Resign from the clean plate club. This is an American way of saying, we normally say you don't have to clear your plate, right? So the idea is sometimes when brought up in such a way, we have to finish the food that was given to us on the plate, otherwise it's not nice. I think Chinese tend to believe in that. But if you have no portion control, you have a lot of food on your plate, that's how you tend to overeat. So I'm always very careful of how much food I put on the plate. So you control that, then you don't feel so bad about not being able to finish the food on the plate. The next one is silence. But silence is actually occasionally, but not all the time, because eating food is very important to eat with friends and family. He's 92 years old, mentally, emotionally, physically very healthy and agile, leading the country and trying to rebuild Malaysia. So somehow we have to acknowledge that. So what Mahathir said is actually quite in line. Some of you might know Okinawa and Blue Zone's book, and a very common terminology, people will ask you, stop eating when you are 80% full. So I have to say, it is very easy to say, but how much is 80% full? So if you then dig into a bit more detail, people find out that 80% full, that means you are about satisfied. So this whole thing has to practice. You have to ask yourself what is full, what is not full, and when are you feeling hungry? When is hungry started to kick in? So if you are very hungry, then you tend to eat a lot more. So the idea is knowing yourself, knowing your body, that is also part of mindfulness, like my body scan. So important thing is knowing yourself better than anybody else. So the next recommendation for mindful eating is 80-20% rule. This is not the same as the financial term 80-20 in terms of effectiveness or efficiency. It happen to be corporate leaders. This is talking about spending 80% of your time eating healthier food, and 20% is how you let go a bit, or you can indulge yourself in not so healthy food. This is not so much for functional benefit, this is more for psychological satisfaction. So eating food is not just functional so that you don't feel hungry, you have the energy. It is very important also you feel happy, you feel psychologically satisfied. A lot of eating disorder problems started with they are emotionally or psychologically not so happy. At that part, we need to address that. So very often after main course, everybody will say, I'm very full. But when people ask, can you eat dessert? Yeah, right? So this is very common. And after that, you pause, like, okay, is it good or bad? So if you apply this 80-20% rule, maybe it's okay. So it's very important to end the meal to feel comfortable and feel happy so that we don't have this psychologically dissatisfaction about ourselves and feel guilty. So that's how I practice anyway. So unlike Lina talk a lot about stress, so when we talk about food, we don't want to talk about stress. We want to talk about happy food. So some of the food give us happy hormones. We don't have cortisol here, Dr. Lina. So you might try some of the food which is make you happy. So certain food has certain ingredient or certain nutritional value. They can give rise to react in the body or give rise to some hormone. And these are food called happy hormone. These are not stress hormone. So when you are stressful, the recommendation is eat some food which we are knowingly that they can give you some positive or happy hormone. So for me, this is what I like. I don't know about y'all. So when you're not so happy, when there's a season, I think everybody's just like me, right? There's a long queue here, so you tend to eat some like durian and things like that. So there are a few food recognized to give positive hormone or happy hormone. Okay, so the next one is talking about eating slowly. Asian, Singaporean, everything rush, right? I think everything chop, right? So we must be very careful, everything must be fast and good, including eating. But we know very well, and it's scientifically proven, it will take about 20 minutes for your brain to recognize you feel full. So if you eat a lot and eat very fast, you tend to overeat. Some of the study in the Japanese university have confirmed slow eating or eating slowly with chewing is actually very important. And one of the critical reasons why they are actually healthier and some of them can actually live longer. Practice that. So we are not talking about today you eat very fast and tomorrow you eat very slow. In any food habits, change is all slowly. Today you take 10 minutes, tomorrow you take 12 minutes, then the next day maybe you take 15 minutes, so that slowness. You will slowly find that you actually eat more effectively and you enjoy the food better. Trust me, when you eat slowly, you always enjoy the food better. Just like the raising exercise. When you eat slowly, you have the senses of all the senses, you tend to taste better and you enjoy better. Okay, I'm not trying to promote HPD, but I do feel that they are trying to actively promote healthy eating, or they call mindful eating. So eating with awareness, treating yourself kindly, and some of the very relevant communication is like diabetes. Singapore have one of the highest diabetes rate. So, and what to eat, what not to eat, how to eat, when to eat, are you in control if you have a diabetic patient? So it's very important that you are aware of what you are eating. The next one also about HPD, so there are 4 key points. So the third one is about eye on your environment. This means whether you go and eat at the hawker center or whether you eat in the restaurant or worse still buffet, lunch or dinner, we have a tendency to overeat when you go and eat for buffet because everything is nice and it's free. You pay for one, right? But often the food is free, but if you're not well and sick, the medical fee is actually very high. So be mindful when you eat a lot during buffet time, and it is not very healthy. The fourth point is mindless eating. Mindless eating is especially eating with distraction. You're eating with a computer when you're doing your work and things like that. You actually don't know you are eating. You are just working, but at the same time you're eating. So you want to do multitask, 2 in 1, but it's actually not very healthy. So a very basic mindless eating is what we call emotional eating. So you're eating not because of functional need, you're eating because of to fulfill your emotional need. typically when you are sad, you're upset, you're angry and things like that. Be watchful of that, or binge eating. This can lead to a lot of eating disorder, which is increasingly an issue now, especially for the younger people. So in the States, there are quite a few books as well as workshops and a lot of studies about how to use mindfulness to address emotional hungers. So it is very important that we all need to distinguish emotional hungers versus physical hungers. So we must know the trigger points. Typically, we have eating disorder problem, or when you are very stressed, you tend to eat a lot more. And when you are angry, or when you have anxious, or you are bored or depressed. Some depressed people tend to eat uncontrollably. So the mindfulness will help you to change your behavior. Again, this is not overnight. This takes some practice and time of awareness. And also change your thought process. You know, I cannot say I'm always angry, therefore I eat more and things like that. And don't give yourself excuse to eat more just because you're angry. That's not very healthy. I think this is okay. So in the States also, they are a lot more advanced. There's this mindfulness eating for eating disorder. It's a center set up by Dr. Jean Cristela. She's one of the pioneers in that. And then she has already developed a mindfulness-based eating awareness training, so MBEAT. If you look around Google's and a lot of hospitals, especially in the States and in Taiwan and Hong Kong, I think they have already embarked on some of these MBEAT to treat patients who are obese or who have eating disorders problem. Apparently the results are very positive. I didn't go into the detail, but if you want, you can always go to the website. There are a lot of information in the website about this center. So that's almost the end of my talk. So if you are sleeping by now, maybe you should wake up. So this is the last slide. Last slide to tell you, I tried to capture the key points of the talk and then put in one slide so that there is a take-home message. So first and foremost, we must be aware whether we are being present when we are eating. We mustn't judge whether it's the food or the person we are eating with. And we must feel gratitude to the food and to the people. Must, and very important, we must distinguish between physical versus emotional hunger. And the second point, nutrition. As a food scientist, nutritionist, you all should have some basic knowledge of what's the nutrient you need for your body, for your family, and how much you should eat, what is the daily calories, and when do you eat. The timing is actually quite important. You eat just before you go to bed, you know you are surely have problem and issue, and the overweight will come up easily. The third point, I distinguish between nutrition and dietary. Nutrition typically is the food and drink, and the timing. Dietary typically is the whole plate that you eat, yeah? The whole meal that you eat. So I'm talking about balanced diet. I'm not keen to say which is a better diet, which is not a good diet. You must have a balanced diet. And at this very moment, globally, there's a drive for a plant-based diet. So this is not to say you turn vegetarian tomorrow. You must also eat plant-based as well as others. So it's a balanced diet. So 80-20 rule, I will talk about it. 80% healthier all the time. 20% give yourself some opportunity to indulge yourself and also be happy. So last one is happy food. The last point is eating habits. Eating habits is actually more difficult because the rest are actually quite static. You can read for nutritional value from the pack and things like that. Eating habit is attitude and discipline. Mahathir talked about very difficult, right? I want to control it and stop eating, but it's all discipline. So eat slowly, you must chew, savor the food, and stop eating when you are 80% full. With this, I thank you for your attention.